I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Council of the Village of Chase, held here in the council chambers at the village office, 826 Okanagan Avenue, and via Zoom on July 15th, 2025 at 4 p.m. to order. And I have proclaimed July 20th to 26th, 2025 as National Drowning Prevention Week in the Village of Chase. And Councillor Stevens is appearing by Zoom. You can hear everything good, Councillor Stevens?
Loud and clear, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Cool. We need a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Philbin? Councillor Herman?
Yeah.
All in favor? That's carried. Staff, can you see Councillor Stevens when he's voting?
Yeah,
Okay.
right there.
Right, staff now. Number 3, adoption of the June 24th meeting. Councillor Stevens? Seconded by Councillor Connett. Any discussion on those? All in favor? That's carried. No public hearings, public input on current agenda items. This opportunity is for members of the gallery to provide input on this agenda. Is there anybody that wants to speak? Okay.
Carolyn Parksman, C13 Okanagan. I was just wanted confirmation of where the site of the new 37-unit seniors housing is going. Is it near the ice rink, I think?
So that'll be in the report.
In what report?
Well, when we get to that on the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, they'll name the site? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'd
James.
like to address, this is James Mintz, 813 Okanagan Ave. I'd like to address, it's item 8.1 and 9.4, I think they're connected. I wrote a letter some time ago asking council to consider changing the speed limit on Chase Street to 30 kilometers an hour. In light of the fact that we have a lot of seniors on that street who use their scooters, sometimes they're walking along the street, and I think it would be a very good idea to have that speed limit reduced to 30 right from the post office right up to the clinic. I think would be appropriate. So I wondered whether there was any progress on that. I note in 8.1 that council is considering hiring a consultant. But I think if you were on Chase Street as much as I am, and I lived on it, you would see that there's a need. I don't think it takes a consultant to tell us that there is, in fact, a real good reason for reducing the speed limit on Chase Street. And I'm in favor of the new speed cameras and so on, really are. But I just wondered about the letter that I sent and whether it is still being considered.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything else? Okay. We have no delegations, and we have reports, and I've been passed this by Chief. No, you guys have switched them around on me there.
You know who we are.
Corporate officer.
Have you forgot their name?
Well, I was trying to be professional. So I've been informed by administration that council's procedure bylaw already intends that mayor and council reports are to be written and published on agendas, same as staff reports. It has been a practice of council to verbally provide the reports during meetings after today's meeting, in keeping with the recent council resolution to refrain from providing verbal reports, we will be strictly adhering to council's procedure bylaw, and any council members' reports will be provided to the corporate officer on or before noon, 8 days prior to the council meeting for inclusion on the agenda packages. So, it's the last time I get to read these things. June 26th, I attended a regular TNRD meeting and a TNRD Trails Committee meeting. Apparently the TNRD has hired a grant writer that the regional directors paid for, but the grant writer might be available if if regional interests are involved. June 27th, I went to a TNRD Committee of the Whole meeting. We had presentations from Talus Bell and Connected Communities. June 30th, it was an interesting day. We had the Scatcherd Mountain Fire. Fire chief isn't here, but just what a great job by everybody, good coordinating. And thanks to the CAO from coming in on what was supposed to be our holidays. So thank you, CAO. July 1st was Canada Day. I spoke on behalf of the village at the opening ceremonies, brought gifts for the other speakers. MP Mel Arnold, MLA Ward Stamer, and Nisconnet Chief Irvin Way. Thanks to all, it was a great day. July 5th, spoke on behalf of the village at the Lions Appreciation Tea, recognizing the years of service by Harold Lewis and Councillor Connett.
Yeah, council meeting on the 24th, and then an in-camera meeting. And I met with a couple who lived on 2nd and Beach to determine who owned a tree, found their property pins, and found that the village owns the tree, and it's part of it's gonna land in their house. It's gonna be spread. I don't know if they got a hold of you. If they were, I told them to get a hold of the office and that. Hopefully they did that. And I spoke to some other people about some bylaw stuff and that. We came to the office and I got great help from that. And that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Herman.
June 24th, the Village Chase Council meeting. June 25th, I attended a Communities in Bloom meeting. June 28th, I enjoyed the Chasen District Museum's strawberry tea at the museum. July 1st, I also was at Memorial Park emceeing, and proud to welcome speakers MP Mel Arnold, MLA Ward Stamer, Mayor David Lepso, Nisconnet Van Coopy, Irvin Way, and Councillor Brad Arnoux to share greetings and remarks with the community. Thanks to the Rotary Club. The lineup was non-stop all night, and the Evangelical Church provided hours of fun for the children, and Safe Mart made all the cupcakes for Canada Day. And the band, the J. Vaughn Band, was very, very good. July 5th, I also attended the Chase Lions Community Appreciation Tea at the Chase Community Hall, and was honored to share a few words about longtime Lions member Harold Lewis, who was receiving his 50-year chevron. And I made sure to tell him he was a Lions member when I was Miss Chase Lions in grade 12. So that was a while ago. Anyways, that was kind of fun. July 7th and 8th, spent time with the Communities in Bloom members and the village representative Joni Heinrich, touring the Communities in Bloom judges, Darlene Kowalski and Ann Kula around our lovely town. Kudos to all the residents and the community groups who helped showcase our village. Things looked really good in the village community. Public Works could have things organized, and everything was really great. They were pretty impressed. July 8th, attended Music on the Lake and enjoyed the daytime highs, and that was sponsored by the Central Golf Club. So thanks to them for that. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens.
Yeah, June 24th, regular and in-camera meeting. I also attended the Lions Tea, and yeah, Mr. Lewis has been volunteering with the Lions longer than I have been alive. So just really incredible service to the community. I met with the Fire Smart coordinator a couple times over the last few weeks. I reviewed today's agenda and made notes for consideration. I also just chatted with the mayor previous to this meeting about some changes to the agenda and regular emails and calls with residents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Torban.
Yeah, June 24th, council meeting and in-camera meeting, June 28th, volunteered at the museum with cleanup and stuff for the strawberry tea. Reviewed agendas, monitored monthly emails, and consult staff as needed, and take inquiries, and also attended, been gone fishing for the last couple of weeks at Sheridan Lake. And it was really helpful. I got to see the Voyant Alert, how it works, and was kept up to date on the fire situation in Chase here. It was very informative, so you get to see how firsthand how that system actually works, and it's a great deal of help. So I knew what was going on the whole time I was up there. And other than that, that's it.
Okay, are there any questions on any of the staff's reports?
Yeah, I just,
Councillor Connor?
not on staff report, but there's something else. I wanted to say thank you to the Chase Fire Department as well. Plus Nisconnet and Adams Lake, and I imagine Squilax did too. They all come together in that. And there was citizens that went running up there to make sure that some of them farms had their water and sprinklers and that. Everybody worked really hard and together in that.
Okay, thank you. I have a question through the CAO to our Manager of Public Works. I actually have two questions. And one I didn't ask you ahead of time. You have line painting contract negotiations. What?
So just through the CAO, just getting prices for repainting the lines in town. I have done quite a tour of the community, taking a look at the condition of the line painting, and was contemplating at one point in time whether or not it was required for this year, but I think that it is, at least in the downtown area. Some of the crosswalks there are getting quite faded and that sort of thing. So just getting some different prices from contractors and preparing to get that contract in place.
So I had a question from someone. Is that going to include the Chiquetin crosswalk, or is that something different?
That would be definitely one of the faded crosswalks that need attention this year.
Okay. Thank you. And there was one other thing that I think you wanted to speak about.
Yeah, I believe
What's
actually
on
in my report, I had left it off because I was actively still working on some information for the playground installation. So we've now received 3 quotes for the installation of the playground. 2 of them are within our budget for this year. So I'm looking at entering into a contract tomorrow with the low proponent on it. The cost is in the kind of $10,000 range for the install. But that does include us using our staff to prep the area and to do the final landscaping on it. So that's just for the installation of the actual playground. So looking at proceeding and issuing that award tomorrow.
Good. Is there anybody else on council has questions?
I do.
Council?
Yeah, like you brought up that crosswalk over there with the natives. Are they still paying part of that?
Through to the CAO.
Mr. Mayor, through to Councillor Cronin and for the rest of council, yes, there's an agreement that we remit an invoice to them and they will pay a portion of it every year, or every time it gets repainted.
Any other questions? Councillor Stevens?
Yeah, not a question, but a comment, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to also echo what other council members have been saying today, and just a great job by staff using Voyant Alert during the fire and keeping everybody informed and keeping council informed as well. I think that was enough excitement for everybody for the entire year. So thank you very much to the CAO as well for coming in on your holidays.
Motion to, I'll move that we receive the reports for information. And seconded, Councillor Herman, all in favor? Those are carried. 8.1 unfinished business. I'm going to turn this over to the CAO. Division 0 funding allocations.
Mr. Mayor, so, yes, so I am actually going to probably refer this to the Director of Corporate Operations. He was the one that applied for the funding, and we have been successful in getting funding to do 2 radar speed signs. So Sean, do you have anything else to add to that at all?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So the village was successful in being awarded a grant from Vision Zero for this program. We were initially awarded $9,500 from Vision Zero. That was to be used for speed reader signs. They came back shortly after with an additional top-up amount of $3,750. And they said that those extra funds could be used for speed reader boards or road safety design changes, with the understanding that speed reader boards only reach so many drivers, but actually changes to your road design impacts them forever. And so the recommendation is that council purchase 2 speed reader signs, and then with the leftover money, because we anticipate those signs, 2 of them will cost between $8,000 and $12,000, leaving $1,000 to $2,000 remaining, like after we buy the speed reader boards, that could be allocated towards some design work. So particularly this off-ramp coming from the east, from Salmon Arm, that we could put a sign on every block all the way down Shuswap, and you're only gonna reach 10% of the drivers. But if you change the road and you design it and actually implement those changes, you're going to affect every driver. So the recommendation is to use those extra money, and we also have a consulting budget that we can top that up and make it sort of worthwhile for someone to come in and give us some advice on good design for our roads.
Okay, so there is a recommendation there. Councilor Herman?
I move that council direct administration to allocate funding from Vision Zero grant by purchasing 2 radar speed signs to be located on Shuswap Avenue near east entrance of Highway 1 and on Pine Street near Mill Park, and that a transportation consultant be engaged to identify solutions in reducing speeds on all existing roadways.
Do you have a seconder? Councilor Stevens, discussion? Councilor Torban?
I was just wondering, like, originally, we were looking at 3 signs and up to 5 signs. So we're looking at the one eastbound off Highway 1 into Chase, one on Shuswap Avenue, and one on Pine Street. So those were the 3 main ones that we were looking at. So the extra money, rather than these consultants, I know we like to use these consultants, but they're not going to tell us anything that we don't already know, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it would be more useful to use that extra funding for the 3rd sign that we had planned, because once those are in place, then we can look at those other things. I mean, to do these studies properly, I mean, you need to have information. I've done these studies myself. And to have them done, you have to have actual information. Like, somebody here suggested, we change the speed limit, but does the speed limit, does he want to change because of what he sees, or is there any information, like any proof that this is actually happening? If you don't have that information put together, and I've put that information together, then the comment is not valid. You can't just arbitrarily say, well, I want the speed limit. It doesn't work like that. You have to have information to substantiate it. Is there any collision data? Is there any of that? Have you done studies with the speed on these streets? Is there any of that? No, there isn't. So if you want to make changes, do it properly. Don't just say, I want to change the speed limit. That's not the way it's done. It's never been done that way. And actually, people have come to me for these studies, and this information, a lot of it you get from Motor Vehicle Branch, as far as collisions go. If there's never been a problem in these areas, you know, looking at it and say, well, there might be a problem. Well, it's not good enough. You have to have data to make changes. So, like I'm saying, from my perspective, I think we had agreed that we would put that third sign in place on Shuswap Avenue, east and west is Primary and Pine Street. And I think that's where the money should go. That's my opinion.
Councillor Herman and Councillor Coniff.
I think this is talking more about solutions in reducing speeds, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking more that they're gonna look at areas and say where we can use some traffic calming, things like, you know, a bit of a curb or some lines or whatever, and I think those things are important for us to find out where, and I mean, obviously, if they're a transportation consultant, they'll be able to tell us where those areas are, and I'm sure we know where most of those areas are already. I'm totally in favor of getting the consultant, and then this gives us something to work on in the future to identify those areas that speed may need to be reduced or may be calming or extra signage or whatever it may be. I'm open to finding out what those solutions are. So.
Councillor Coniff.
I'm all for the third sign. And, and you need one on Second Avenue too. The people are complaining that they're doing 100 kilometers an hour down there. Getting it all, somebody to come in and say, well, you have to put some, narrow the road so that they slow down or something, like that just doesn't make sense. Coming off that chute, I mean, nobody's ever had an accident coming off of there. They just come a little bit too fast and then they're not slowing down. They take the foot off the brake. So, but we need signs up there.
Councillor Torban.
Okay, I'll give you an example of how these consultants work. When I was in Merritt, they were building the connector. So at Aspen Grove, there's an intersection, and the consultants suggested that we put a raised curb traffic island. So this brilliant engineering that the consultants came up with caused more accidents than you can think of. So all they did was put in a trip for vehicles. When they hit it, they roll. This is what your consultants do. These are engineers, professionally trained people, and they put that up, and I told them if they do that, they're gonna cause nothing but problems. Guess what? We had fatalities, we had nothing but problems. So just because you go to a consultant, that doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're doing. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about it.
Councillor Herman.
I just want to talk about the speed sign. I know there's a couple in Kamloops, one going over the Halston Bridge, and I've noticed when I go there that it says slow to 50 and the traffic is constantly going at 70 or more.
How do you-
Nobody even looks at it anymore.
How do you know they're going at 70?
Because I'm following them.
At 7?
Yeah.
So, Councillor
The
Herman.
traffic is going in a line, yeah, so no, seriously, people don't look at it. They'll, it's a warning, but they're not going to. So, I'm not gonna.
Just
I'm
wait
done.
till
I'm
I
done.
recognize you guys. Councillor Herman, are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, Councillor Coniff and then Councillor Torban.
I went to Falkland, and they've got, going into Falkland, right in the middle of Falkland. No, they don't, they have an outhouse taped to a power pole, that's what they had there. And coming the other way too, so, I mean, they work. You see that thing flashing at you and stuff like that, going too fast or whatever, theirs is quite elaborate. Even Monty Lake has them on the road. I think they're great, and we need them.
Councillor Torban.
And keep in mind, if they're advising you to put in choke points at certain points in the road, some of those choke points that they suggest putting in will also cause accidents because the people that don't abide by the rules, because those choke points are there now, they're contributing to that accident. So you gotta think about that as well.
Anything else? So there is a recommendation there. Let's put this to the vote and see what happens. So all in favor? Opposed? Okay, two.
Not opposed to the sign
Not
thing,
opposed
but
to
they're
the
opposed to
signs,
this
though.
other crap.
Just opposed to the consultant part of it. I think maybe.
Well, so we had the vote.
Oh,
Are we good?
No, yeah.
CAO? How-
No, I guess, yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor?
okay. Did I do that procedurally correct?
Yeah, no, it's fine, I just I guess a final comment is that there's not enough money anyways in the grant to buy 3 signs. It was sort of a little bit extra money that we had. We have a consulting budget that we can draw from to top it up. We do not have a capital budget that we can top up for equipment. So even if the vote was for up to 3 speed reader signs, that's how it would be worded, up to, but probably not 3, because we don't have the money.
Okay, thank you for that. We go on to 9.
Let's wait.
9.1
I don't wanna lose
BC
this.
Housing Encore lease agreement. I'm gonna refer that one to the CAO.
Mr. Mayor, so council has been given a change in the wording of the resolution. And just really quick, we realized that it's actually a 3-way lease agreement. And I'm going to refer to the Director of Corporate Operations to add additional information. Please and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a 3-way agreement between the Village of Chase, Encore Senior Society, and BC Housing. And so that's why there's this change to the recommendation. And I also want to provide council with the ingredients in this lease. It's still being tweaked, and I'll give an example on why it's still being tweaked. In the boilerplate template that BC Housing provides to their communities in these arrangements, the default is that they don't pay taxes, for instance. However, in this agreement, BC Housing is going to pay taxes on this 37-unit build. So that's just an example of why we're still working through that with them. But I'll give you the other highlights on this agreement. Not only do they agree to pay taxes through the 60-year term of the lease, they also agree to having a business license because there's going to be an operator, there's going to be revenues, it's just a requirement. They also agree to only allowing eligible occupants in that building. So 55 plus, and there's also that breakdown depending on your income and the affordability levels. Back in November, I did a PowerPoint presentation that showed what they are, and I can just quickly go through them again here. I've got a copy of that presentation. 30% of the units, so about a third of the units, are going to be allocated to those with low and moderate incomes, and that's about $1,100 per month for a 1-bedroom. Then those eligible occupants with low incomes, so this is all based on BC Housing's criteria for affordability. So 50% of the units, half of the units, are going to be geared towards low-income seniors, and that rent will be $700 a month for a 1-bedroom. And then 20% are geared for deep subsidy. These are the most impoverished 55 plus seniors, and they only pay $500 a month. But that's going to be in the agreement, in the lease agreement. They also agree to keeping the building in good repair and maintain it properly. They also agree to abiding by the village's nuisance bylaw. So it's just an extra layer of protection. We have a bylaw we can enforce, but if they are putting it in their agreement and then enforcing it within, then there's less issues that we would have to deal with. They agree to meet all provincial environmental standards, and there's a whole range, but just think contaminated transportation of dangerous goods, contaminated substances, that sort of thing. They agree to indemnify the village from everything. They agree to hold liability insurance. They agree to all WorkSafe BC codes and legislation. And one of the most important things is after the 60-year term, they agree to return the land to its original condition, or upon council's decision at that time, the village can assume the building and keep it operating. But those will be the choices for future decision makers.
We had a question from somebody asking about the location. Do you mind mentioning where the location is?
Sure, the location is at 221 Shepherd Avenue, Shepherd Road. 221 Shepherd Road, it's the arena site.
Okay. Is there anything else from staff from this CAO?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, so there's a recommendation there.
I'll move
Councillor
that the
John.
Village of Chase execute a 60-year lease agreement with BC Housing and Encore Senior Society for the purpose of allowing them to construct a 37-unit building and to use it, occupy and enjoy the lands conditional on subdivision approval.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Herman and Councillor Herman, you were.
Oh, I just noticed, he
Here.
said, he said a 60-year lease agreement instead of license agreement, so just wanted to.
Or license agreement.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay,
just wanted to
so,
make sure.
so discussion from council. Councillor Khan?
Is there anything in there that the people from Chase will be head of the queue, or is that allowed?
Through to the CAO?
Mr. Mayor, actually, I'm going to refer back to the Director of Corporate Operations. I think you contacted BC Housing, but did we ever hear anything back from them?
Yeah. So BC Housing maintains a registry, and they are giving preferential treatment to village residents. And there's a whole system that I don't know all the ins and outs, but they have said that there will be preferential treatment for Village of Chase residents.
Can people apply now?
I don't know that.
Before they said no.
Any other questions from,
This time.
any other discussion from council? See none, all in favor? Councillor Stevens, are you in favor or opposed?
I'm
Oh, sorry.
opposed. I'm opposed.
Okay,
Thank
sorry.
you. No, that's okay.
So that's carried. 9.2, award of contract to First Avenue Water Systems Improvement. I'm gonna pass this over to the CAO.
Mr. Mayor, there's a couple of things with this one and the next one. So the manager of public works, along with our corporate officer and our finance officer, basically all work together on both of these situations, manager of public works primarily. So I'm going to probably turn it to the manager of public works. We want to just suggest that, and I think the CFO can help us with this, is in terms of the section on the resolution that says to be funded. We just have some additional information to clarify that. But basically, the awards are as they are in those resolutions. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to say to these at all, this particular one? First Avenue?
Yeah, through the CAO. So I did call up kind of the drawing set on the screen here, just so that we have an idea of kind of the scope of the project and where it's located. So it is First Avenue and Pine Street water main upgrades. It goes from Shuswap Avenue down Pine Street to First Ave and then along First Avenue. Also included in this project is a sidewalk on the south side of First Avenue, in front of Florco and that sort of thing. We received 7 submissions in the tender. Connex Civil was the low bid on it. The price does include both a contingency and GST. And so staff recommendation is that that Connex Civil Contractors get the First Avenue and Pine Street water main upgrades. Maybe I'll just pass it over to our CFO to speak to the funded by component, just so that I'm on the same page here.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. So, Mayor and Council, I have just, I recommend that we take out the funding by the gas tax reserve, because this project is actually funded from gas tax and from the paving reserve. But if we just leave that out, then we fund it as per the budget, which is what is gonna move forward here.
Is there anything else from staff at this time? Okay. See none, we'll put does someone want to make the recommendation?
I'll make that.
Councillor Torbalan?
That council award the contract for the First Avenue water system improvements to Connex Civil Contractors Limited in the amount of $793,680.83.
Seconded by Councillor Stevens. Discussion? Councillor Coniff.
What size of water line was it?
I believe it's in 200. Do you have the drawing still up there?
Don't see it. 200, what's that in inches?
Big,
Big.
250 on pine.
10 inch?
That's a 10 inch.
All right.
Okay.
Right on.
And 250 on.
First?
It is on First if it's for sure 250. Yes.
So they'd be all 10 inch.
250, we're talking millimeters?
Yes.
I know, Mike, when we were gonna put a valve up there, up by the bowling alley.
Yeah.
We had a hell of a time shutting the water off, eh?
Yeah.
There's a valve down below, but I think the stem is bent or something. But, I don't know, maybe a guy should look into one of those valves and just hot tap it, eh? Just a suggestion. They're expensive, but.
Okay, any other questions from council? See none, all in favor? That's carried unanimously. 9.3, award of contract for Shepherd Road extension. And I'm gonna refer this one to the CAO.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, again, Mr. Baker will be able to add anything to this in terms of technical. We are suggesting that and the CFO can help us with where it will be funded from. Basically, this was also included in the budget as been approved by council earlier this year. So Mr. Baker, I'll just leave this one with you.
Thank you very much. So again, on this one, we had 7 submissions, ranged in price from about $680,000 up to approximately $1 million. Our purchasing policy directs us to recommend the low bidder on the work, and in this particular instance, that was River Mist Excavating at a price of $678,167.70. Up on the screen right now, we can see the scope of the work that is being proposed here. So it's an extension of that Shepherd Road. Again, there will be curb gutter sidewalk on this, so making it more walkable, and will provide a link through kind of the community, north-south, alternate to Shuswap Avenue. Maybe I'll pass it over to Deb to explain well, maybe before I pass it over, so the $678,167.78, that will be augmented by funds that we receive through some different developments that are ongoing. So we just saw the lease agreement with Encore, and then there's also the women's transition shelter that is being planned in that area. And the estimated costs for their off-site works are approximately $180,000, which would reduce that from the contract amount that we currently have budgeted. So maybe I'll pass it over to CFO.
Thanks, Mr. Baker. So again, in this situation, the funding is coming from two different places. So I kind of recommend that we take out the funded by growing communities funds because we have allocated $540,000 in the budget already to cover off our contribution to the project. We just will have to add the developer's contribution probably into the 2026 budget or later on if we need to bring it in.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, so there's a recommendation there. Councillor Corbin.
The council award the contract for the Shepherd Road extension to River Mist Excavating Limited in the amount of $678,167.70.
We have a seconder, Councillor Stevens, discussion.
Um,
Councillor Conick?
when they did that road, and I think I asked John this before or not, but, are we going to be hooking, there's a rock pit there right on the corner of, Cottonwood and Shepherd now. Are they gonna be hooking up the storm there? To that storm that's going by there? It got missed when they did all the other crap and that. And I'm hoping that once they get, you get some equipment there and you're gonna pave anyways, you rip it up and hook it up or something.
So through to the CAO, is that?
Yes, and I think either Mike or Sean can probably answer this question. Are you talking about the rock pit on the site of the arena parking lot?
No, this is on this end of Shepherd
Cottonwood.
and Cottonwood, right on the corner, there's a grate and it just goes down like this and the pathway goes right through it, it got missed, or I don't know what exactly happened when they put the big storm through the highways and that. And I thought, I'm not sure, but I think I asked Sean, he said probably when they did this or something, they might hook that up, and I'm hoping that they do to get rid of that. Because it's a huge big puddle, when it rains, and it takes maybe a day for it to drain, eh?
Sean might be able to answer that, hopefully.
I don't know for sure, but I don't think it's in the scope of this work.
So
It's on so it's just Shepherd Road from Cottonwood to where the pavement ends on Shepherd Road.
So all you're doing is paving then,
Yeah, it's curb, gutter, sidewalk, street lights, pavement, parking stalls, yeah.
oh, that's something to look at.
Okay, any other questions from council? Okay, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Those are three large projects, it's good to see. 9.4 restricted speed zones, there's a memo from Manager of Public Works, but I'm turning this to CAO.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to refer this straight to our Manager of Public Works. He did the research and wrote the memo.
Thank you very much. So there's been a bunch of discussion kind of around this topic already today. So I think for the most part, the report speaks for itself, but I think one of the things that I would just like to kind of point out within it, the Local Government Act and the Community Charter do lay out responsibilities and rights and that sort of stuff that mayor and council have. And within those rights, you do have the right to be dictating the speed limit on roadways. But that's not a kind of executive power that we just get to kind of randomly decide, let's put a speed limit here, let's do some different stuff there. there is a responsibility that comes along with that. And as had been discussed earlier, or kind of mentioned earlier by Councillor Torbo, there's proper analysis and data that's required to really be able to make these decisions. And one of the big risks, if we kind of randomly select certain areas, is that people stop listening to the signage in those certain areas. And do we want people ignoring the school zone sign of 30 because they ignore the 30 signs kind of everywhere else in the community? So in this particular case, the majority of this report revolves around the Bay Drive project that we did. And as council would probably remember, when we awarded that work, we did reduce we kept the existing lane width as it was, which is, I believe, about 5.5 meters. And the recommendation from the engineer of record on that was to put in a traffic sign that warned travelers to wait for opposing traffic, as well as the 20 kilometer per hour sign. The existing geometry of the roadway as it sits right now doesn't meet the Transportation Association of Canada's requirements for a 30 kilometer an hour road. I have spoken with our operations staff as well, because there were some comments about snow removal and that sort of thing. The comment back to me on Bay Drive was that they wouldn't dream of going over 20 kilometers an hour on that road as it is right now. So within this report, I'm recommending that the 20 kilometer an hour speed limit on Bay Drive be maintained. And then there's some comments in the discussion here about how if we do have some of these requests for speed changes on various roads, similar to what was spoken about earlier, we need data to be able to do that. We shouldn't just be kind of looking at these requests and going and changing our speed limits. We should get data, it should be driven by data. And then possibly getting things like community support. One of the big challenges that council has in these instances is we get one or two kind of members of the community that comes forward with an idea, but we don't know what the rest of the neighborhood is actually thinking. So implementing something like a requirement for a petition might be a good idea for some of these speed requests. At any rate, I think the recommendation here on this report is that the 20 kilometer per hour speed limit on Bay Drive be maintained.
Thank you very much. So there's a recommendation there. Councillor Torban?
I'll recommend that the 20 kilometer speed limit on Bay Drive be maintained.
We have a seconder. Councillor Herman, discussion? Councillor Torban?
Well, I just want to add in there that most people probably don't know this, but standard lane width is generally 3.5 meters, and this is like 5 meters. So, and that's normally on a 2-lane opposing highway. So obviously in this case, we don't have that, so we have no choice liability-wise and everything to lower the speed limit so you don't get guys trying to pass there at 50 kilometers each, that's 100 kilometers an hour, somebody's going. So yeah, so it's a good idea for this municipality and us for liability reasons.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 4-1 vote, that's carried. 9.5, 2024 annual report. I'm gonna move that council receives the 2024 annual report for information. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Torban. Discussion? All in favor? That's carried unanimously. And 9.6, Councillor Herman.
I move that the letter from the communities in Bloom be received for information.
Seconded. Councillor Stevens, discussion, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Notice of motion, anyone have a notice of motion? Seeing none. 11, opportunity for public to speak on municipal matters. This opportunity is for members of the gallery to provide input on any municipal matters. Have to state your name and address. Is there anybody here that wishes? So there's 2, and we allot 15 minutes, do we? So you would each have 7.5 minutes. If you wish, who would like to go first? Okay, just state your name and address.
My name is James Bell, I live on Pine Street. And I'm here also about.
Sorry, what did?
I didn't catch the address.
Pine Street,
What's the address?
504
Thank you.
Pine Street, but I drive it every day. There's been issues about speed signs, all sorts of stuff here tonight, you know, on Bay Drive and Shuswap Avenue and stuff, but I haven't heard anything about the speeding at Centennial Park. I sat there for 10 days in a row without this sign on the back of my truck, watching vehicles go by at 70K. Don't even notice that there's a park. The pool was absolutely loaded today. I sat there for 10 minutes without this on my truck. And everybody speeded. Nobody was slowing down. They were doing 60 to 70K. And then, oh my God, it's a park, and they hit the brakes, but it's too late. So what I'm proposing is, this cost me $1.25, and it slows down the traffic 95%. One neon green sign. And if you're coming up Pine Street, there's a little black and white sign that says playground, 30K, nobody sees it. In the intersection of Pine Street and where the little store is, there's dual crosswalks right there, and the sign is right there. Nobody sees it. Nobody. This they see. So what I'd like to see is metal signs, not the little plastic ones that sit on the ground. Those don't work 7 days a week. They only work 5 days a week. They don't get put out on paid holidays. So this is a permanent solution. It works 95%, because in the last 10 days I proved it. I had 100 witnesses today thank me for being there for the kids. I lost a 4-year-old cousin in a playground, 4-year-old, wanting to get in his side of the driver's side of the van. So this is why I'm opposed to people speeding down Pine Street right in front of Centennial Park. I think it's more important to Shuswap Avenue. I mean, they're all important, don't get me wrong, but where the kids are is more important. And all you have to do is sit there for 10 minutes in front of the pool and watch the people speed by at 70. Both directions. So today was the first day that we actually had something like this on both sides, going that way and this way. Nobody speeded, everybody slowed down at 30K. It was just amazing, the difference. That's what I'm here to say.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's see, staff that took your notes. Who's next?
Yes, James Dinsey, 13 Okanagan. I hesitate to even speak following this presentation because I think it's so important. It is very important, thank you. However, I did want to ask about the progress on the boat launch down in Mill Park, and whether there's going to be anything done this year, or what's the stage that it's at.
So I think staff will get back. My understanding is that this is an opportunity to provide input, so you're providing input. So,
Well, nothing's being done, that's my input.
yeah. But staff will get back to you and us. Is there anything else?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
This would be a permanent solution, the metal signs.
Okay, is there anything else? Thanks for the people who actually come to the meetings, it's good. Okay, seeing nothing else, we have no in camera, no release. in-camera items. Need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Councillor Khan, Councillor Herman, all in favor? That's carried. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.